Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Star Destroyer Gaming, here with a divisional overview guide today for KORUCK 559, the rear area security division that is supposed to be not very good. This is probably one of my favorite divisions here, and this is what I will be employing today on this map. This 10v10. Yes, 10v10. Yep, this is the map. So, to start, so think about the any division with King Tigers. When you're moving out of division with King Tigers, you want your support assets. The King Tiger is like the centerpiece of your operation. You have AA to support it, you have reconnaissance, you have infantry to secure the flanks, but the King Tiger is like the centerpiece. That's like the most important thing. With this division, it's kind of like that, except for your centerpiece of your division is going to be a massive swarm of infantry that comes in Phase C. So Phase A and B, Phase A, most of B, are basically just preparing the field for when you're going to deploy this giant infantry swarm. And then in C, and maybe the later part of B, we'll get our infantry in, and that swarm consists of SS Shupo and Shuma. I wish I could take these in the later phases, but they only come in A. So we have, this is like our only like real infantry. Otherwise, we're just going to be deploying an enormous amount of Shupo to try to take on the enemy, and we'll bring up some flak here to support our fellow player. But basically, everything that we're deploying right now, I mean, this division has like a wealth of support tanks, good support vehicles, just lighter ones that you can throw into towns and stuff. And so that's mostly what I'm going to be deploying here. And the difference with this guy doesn't have much ammo, and the T60 has a massive amount of it, so we're going to bring in these three. And some artillery support as well to help out our ally there, but mostly we're just going to be playing more defensively here. For right now, of course, just letting our tanks drive around and shoot up infantry.
Werfer kann eingesetzt werden. Indianer auf 3 Uhr oberhalb.
So the best counters to a swarm of SS Shupo generally is going to be lots of enemy tanks and infantry. You can turn them back, especially good quality enemy infantry like the American infantry, for example, or the French infantry. So you do want to watch out for those, but otherwise the attack can kind of overwhelm what appears to be a pretty, because most defense lines are organized to stop tank attacks first and foremost. Infantry is kind of a forethought, but if you bring forward like hundreds of infantry at the same time, most of the time their lines will be overwhelmed. Unless they're pinned in place long enough by, like, you know, American or French infantry for artillery to start coming in off map, which can really turn back a wave. But we're gonna see how this works here, because every game with these guys is different. You never know exactly what you're gonna get, at least when you're using the strategy that I am here. Not seeing any enemy presence yet. Some preliminary, oh, there we go, yeah, we're seeing it now, that's for sure.
Was sind Ihre Befehle? Befehl.
Glad that thing was able to get away. It's almost knocked out.
Siegpunkt erreicht. Raus mit euch.
Okay, 57 mil gun, reasonable, reasonable. Looks like Americans and Russians here, Soviets. That artillery is coming in clutch, just the right time. Let's use our tanks to kind of push in and just kind of like overwhelm them if possible. Some
Befehle.
pretty well-aimed fire there from the
Don't shoot.
planes.
Rot 6, kampfbereit. Gute Arbeit, Schütze. Jawohl, Hauptmann. Don't shoot.
Something to watch out for with the Americans is they have these really nice, like, high-quality bazookas that they are always using.
Sprenggeschosse geladen.
Gotta watch out for those.
Raketen geladen, Kommandant. Rückwärts, rückwärts, rückwärts. Wir stehen unter Beschuss. Rot 1 an alle. Funküberprüfung. Kommen.
It looks like most of our opener is down now.
Scheiße, das war knapp. Kann abgefeuert werden.
Yeah, I think we can definitely safely drop this
25
here.
Grad nach oben. Feuer. Viel Feind, viel Air. Renn zu!
Yeah, good hit, good hit.
Gibt es neue Befehle?
We have to wait till B phase for my reinforcements, my supply trucks to come up. Just throw in some more AA. I'm okay with having a lot of floating points because in B phase, a lot of the support assets come up. So we have like Tiger tanks and a lot of high quality like anti-air that we're going to use to back up our offensive so that when the time comes, we can really, really hammer them with all those infantry and not let enemy planes or tanks get in the way of that.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle? Scheiße, das war knapp. Bereitschaft hergestellt.
Now that's pretty interesting. I've never really seen those deployed before intentionally, mostly because I think the consensus, including for myself, is they're pretty bad. So always interesting to see a player using something like that.
Jawohl, Hauptmann. Das sind Ihre Befehle. Rückwärts, Marsch! Rund zum Feind! Rot 1 an alle. Funküberprüfung.
Oh yeah, if you can kill that, that would be really good.
Rot 1 an alle. Funküberprüfung. Kommen. Jawohl, Hauptmann. Wir wurden getroffen. Jawohl, Herr Kommandant.
Damn vehicle taking so many hits.
Zur Stelle, Hauptmann. 25 Grad nach oben.
But we got it.
Feuer. Zu Befehl. Rückwärts, Marsch! Front zum Feind!
We can actually cancel this fire.
Wir wurden getroffen! Flak bereit! Verstanden! Aufspüren und vernichten! Höre Sie klar und deutlich!
Yes, kill the scouts.
Indianer um 3 Uhr oberhalb! Gute Arbeit, Schütze!
Yeah, mistake. They have way too much stuff back there.
Raketenwerfer kann eingesetzt werden. 25 Grad nach
Mistake
oben!
to send in that plane, that is.
Hoch auf dem gelben Wagen. Raketen geladen, Kommandant. 25
Yeah, I don't know what I'm
Grad
gonna do
nach
when they
oben.
have all this, here. Well, they have an off-map coming in, so that's good. Very interesting to see that this off-map also has some small bombs. Yeah, sorry, I don't think these are getting through. It's not worth it. Well, actually, good hit there, good hit. It was
Rot 1
respectable.
an alle. Funküberprüfung. Kommen.
These tanks are unique here. VK-1801, 2 machine guns, 80 millimeters of armor for only 20 points. It's actually fairly worth it in my opinion. definitely can get in there and do a lot of damage and take a lot of hits and keep on moving.
Wir wurden getroffen! Ich höre. Marsch! Aber achten Sie auf unsere Flanken!
Definitely very tooth and nail fighting here. Because all this artillery that we have coming in though is gonna push him back.
Marschbereitschaft hergestellt. Scheiße! Das war knapp!
Yeah, this stuff, while it's good for suppression, I mean, they have a lot of shells to use, you know. They're only 82mm rounds, so the damage is not very high.
Scheiße! Das war knapp! Marschbereitschaft hergestellt.
Definitely getting a lot of good support from over here.
Rot 6, kampfbereit.
One interesting thing about this is a captured British Valentine here, and so it has no explosive rounds for its gun, and only one machine gun, so it's actually a very, very bad close support tank, but I'm using it in there anyway just because it's fairly cheap, and it's here to try to knock out and engage enemy armor.
Was sind Ihre Befehle?
There we go. So we have a large pool of points now
Was sind Ihre Befehle?
that I have by managing to conserve my resources. We only want to put in units when they're going to be like the most effective.
Zu Befehl. Verstanden. Aufspüren und vernichten. Wir wurden getroffen.
I suppose this was to draw AA, although I'm not really sure why these two were sent in. Defuse their storch there.
Wir wurden getroffen. Marsch. Aber achten Sie auf unsere Flanken.
Yeah, the Kampfpanzer is definitely going to be inferior to a lot of enemy vehicles. A lot of any enemy medium armor. Kampfpanzer is probably like the heaviest light armored vehicle you have. That's not very good also because it's so slow.
Comrade!
Should get one of these idiots to be able to shoot down these roads here.
Marschbereitschaft hergestellt.
And get this VK-18 in so I can start tearing things up.
Was sind Ihre Befehle?
Same with this Panzer C. Half the armor of the VKT, by the way.
Jawohl, Herr Kommandant. Scheiße! Das war knapp! Keine Vollkommnisse. Absitzen, sofort. Okay. Jawohl, Hauptmann.
Oh, wow. Yeah, good hit by the enemy there. On
Rot
us.
6, kampfbereit. Ich höre. Oder schneit.
Fortunately, we have a lot of armor to counter the large amount of allied armor
Koordinaten.
that's moving up. We'll
Marschbereitschaft
keep this here,
hergestellt.
guy. You're nice and safe where you cannot get hit by these enemy tanks. Good Panzerschreck movement there.
Volltreffer! Sie ist zerstört! Jawohl.
I want that 88 to be
Raketen
going
geladen,
into the
Kommandant.
action. Large short-range tank battle developing. Funnily enough, between M4s and other M4s, in part.
Hauptmann.
we definitely would like to hit that.
Geben Sie uns
with some rounds.
Feuerkoordinaten.
Good Panzerschreck usage there. Used to, I mean, 4 out of 6 rounds.
Den Feind hat's zerlegt.
Nice. Using an 88mm gun to destroy WC-25 is ridiculous. Alright, that's some good firepower there. Good hit coming in.
Raketenwerfer kann eingesetzt werden.
That should have a nice effect, no doubt. We're gonna bring up our other Tiger and another AA gun, and then after that, we are going to start pressing hard with a bunch of infantry, and you can kind of see the real purpose of deploying this battle.
We surrender.
Martyr 2s always waste those valuable APCR on just like random targets like these. Like almost always you're gonna see them using them on transports and stuff.
Höre Sie klar und deutlich.
This guy's just like a completely heavily armored machine gun bunker basically that I have here.
Marschbereitschaft hergestellt. We surrender. Wir wurden getroffen.
Although I think he's taking fire, yeah, from that jumbo. So direct jumbo hit. Not even scratch. Not even with like showing any damage.
Zurück. Und zwar langsam. Jawohl.
That guy better fall back.
Rot 1 an alle. Funküberprüfung.
And unfortunately, I'm also seeing at least one, there might be more, enemy off maps moving into position.
Halte Ausschau nach feindlichen Flugzeugen. Wir stehen unter Beschuss!
Товарищ, не стреляй!
It looks like they're retreating back into the tree line.
Höre Sie klar und deutlich. Rückwärts, Marsch! Und zum Feind!
Move back out of the off map range, which is probably right over here. I don't want my Tiger getting banged up too much.
Was sind Ihre Befehle? Jawohl, Herr Kommandant.
Should I move this guy over there? That might work out good for him. Good flanking fire on these enemy tanks. This is Jagdpanzer, because he's a little overworked against those two. There comes the off map there.
Rot 1 an alle. Funküberprüfung. Kommen. Verstanden. Aufspüren und vernichten. Wir wurden getroffen.
Alright, let's get our other AA gun up. Our other Tiger is at the front line
Rot
now.
6. Kampfbereit.
We'll move in these support tanks in reserve, and then after this, we'll just start the flood of infantry.
Was sind Ihre Befehle?
That's not a good spot for them.
Marschbereitschaft hergestellt. Scheiße! Trefferstab!
Oh, they have the KT here. They're using on the flank. That's something I did not notice. Good for them. Good for them. Just gotta watch for enemy AT coming up over here. But this is probably a prime time to begin our big infantry push. Because that KT and my 2 Tigers can start to break down enemy resistance.
Hauptmann, Feuerbereitschaft hergestellt.
I think in a big way.
Ich höre. Wahrer Gefechtsgeschwindigkeit. Scheiße! Das war klar!
Yeah, let's hammer on those enemy guns. Okay, here comes the first wave. This empty flank is making me nervous for the KT here.
Gute Arbeit, Richtschütze!
Oh, wow. For a second I thought the K2 was knocked out, but fortunately not. He's still vibing. Okay, I want to keep these 51D5s away. They have very heavy bombs. They're dangerous even against like tanks, like heavy tanks. No signs of damage on him yet.
We surrender.
Wow, I don't know how that toaster survived for that long, but he's gone now. I think they must have accidentally moved these two in front, because I know we haven't taken all 3 of their barrages from each yet.
Ich höre. Viel Feind, viel Air. Zu Befehl.
Товарищ, не стреляй!
Höre Sie klar und deutlich. Zurück! Und zwar langsam! Überprüft Waffen und Munition. Feindgesicht, Gefechtsbereitschaft herstellen!
Yeah, those guys are going to get completely cut up. So we'll send the next wave through the center where it's a little bit more clear. But taking casualties is
Lanzer zur Stelle.
not only, I wouldn't say recommended, but it's definitely very much inevitable with this strategy.
Auf mein Kommando! Feuer!
It's definitely designed to happen.
Voreintreffer und es ist aus! Gute Arbeit, Lichtschütze! Nimm die Beine in die Hand! Wir können nicht mehr. Überprüft Waffen und Munition. Feuer und Bewegung!
So right now you just have a couple of feeble waves of infantry kind of throwing themselves against the enemy. As the game goes on and more infantry come in, especially now that we're in the sea phase, and we have more points with this deck, we're gonna start to see a pretty good effect
Gute
on
Arbeit,
them.
Lichtschütze! Zieh den Arsch an Hand!
Good hit there. It looks like we're actually pushing them back.
Mal erwischt! Alle mal zurück! Verdammt! Es hat mich erwischt! Ob stürmt oder schneit.
You cannot send mediums against the Tiger. I mean, it's never worked. Never ever try that, sending mediums against the Tiger like that.
Infanterie bereit. Scheiße, das war knapp. Wir wurden getroffen.
Cue ridiculously large blasts from us. I think in real life, sometimes these were fired. The explosion could actually flip Allied tanks over. Like I know there was an incident late war in Germany where one of these like 380mm rocket-propelled rounds landed in a tank like staging area for the Allies, and like we had multiple vehicles slipped over from that. I think in the American sector.
Zieh den Arsch an Hand. Vorsichtig, Männer, der Feind ist in der Nähe. Stehen bereit.
So here we can see that although the infantry have the disheartened trait, all that means is that when they're pushed back, they only take a few casualties. So it creates kind of a wave effect. So this first group is now starting to come back. This group is coming in. We have this one coming in. And now that's also compounded by this group I just commanded to come in right here. Shuma.
Befehle, Kommandant?
We probably should have ordered that thing to move up a long time ago.
Ah, es hat mich erwischt!
This is what I mean. They try to use bombers to kind of stop the offensive. And even when they get their bombs off, it's just prohibitive in loss of aircraft. It's not worth it.
Verdammt, es hat mich erwischt!
Although I won't lie, those guys are stupidly durable.
Haha, das hat gesessen. Ob stürmt oder
Oh, that's nice. That's a good hit. That's a good hit for us.
Los, zurück! Wir geben auf! Ruhe, herhören! Zum Schützenrodel aufgehen, mir nach! Breiter Hauptmann! Unten bleiben! Verdammt!
looks like the Soviets are going to lose here. This is pretty even. The only place we're having a breakthrough is up here. We've got this flag. So let's try our best to keep it.
Verdammt, es hat mich erwischt.
Just keep sending in basically meat to be thrown against the enemy's guns, and they will lose eventually.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle?
Because they just can't withstand something like that for that long. Just that much raw firepower being constantly thrown against them.
Zweiter Zug einsatzbereit.
Here, obviously, we don't want these guys walking into our own off-map. This wave is falling back, possibly from the bombers, although again, I don't remember if they got their bombs off or not. That off-map wasn't really good for us. It's making us kind of stop.
Auf mein Kommando, Feuer aus allen Rohren.
Raketenwerfer kann eingesetzt werden.
Alle mal zurück! Verdammt!
Oh, you have to
es
move
hat
up,
mich
don't you?
erwischt.
Alright, that's fine.
Lass mich raus! Ich will nach Hause! Lass mich gehen!
Who is this guy? Is he here?
Alle mal zurück!
No, well, that's fine. We have 3 players here, so it's not really surprising we're getting a breakthrough like this. Look at this. Now we're pouring forwards.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Hauptmann?
Just meme levels of infantry coming up.
Sanitäter!
Alles verschossen!
I'm just gonna go ahead and say, everybody advance
Alle mal zurück!
across this tiny little bridge.
Wir können nicht mehr.
Rot 6, kampfbereit. Angriff!
I'm gonna divert this detachment to take this patch of woods so we can get this flag back.
Lass mich raus! Ich will
Although
nach
we are
Hause!
winning, of
Lass
course.
mich gehen! Zu Befehl! Wahrer Gefechtsgeschwindigkeit!
Oh, I completely forgot about my reserves here. Let's get them up as fast as we
Wie
can.
lauten Ihre Befehle? Bereit zum Feuern, Kommandant.
Looks like they had a total breakthrough here as well.
Ich höre.
Let's push these tigers right up the middle. Right into the enemy.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Hauptmann? Indianer voraus, bereit für den Angriff. Vorwärts, Männer, aber schießt erst auf mein Kommando.
Raketenwerfer kann eingesetzt werden.
Well, now the game's almost over. Look at this, when you zoom out, the line comes all the way out to here because there's just so many of them. We have the flag back, good stuff.
Höre Sie klar und deutlich.
They decided the only way to counter is with the Sorma tanks, which is probably the right move, especially American tanks with their like large amount of machine guns, but my Tigers are
Zu Befehl!
the perfect counter, so if they can have an effect, then we'll be fine. And of course this KT has just been, now only has 5 AP shells left, shows how much he's been working.
Verdammt, es hat mich erwischt.
I still want you guys to grab that there.
Volle Schwarze! Ah, es hat mich erwischt!
Damn, those poor Superi. Just starting to fire there. So, not the best example because we didn't have a complete breakthrough and turn their flank, but as you can see there, the deployment of a massive amount of Shupo, which is unique to this, just very cheap infantry, 15 points apiece. You can really turn the tide of a battle and really help an ally just by dumping infantry in front of the enemy positions and just having them move forward. Don't worry about objectives, don't worry about, you know, high ground or terrain or seizing tree clumps. Just move them straight forward on hunt. They will engage and kill everything that they see. Except for tanks, of course, they have no anti-tank weapon. But sometimes you can just, there's so many, like for example an IS-2 can be easily overwhelmed by like 4 or 5 squads of Shupo running at it because Shupo are going to get past the IS-2 even if the IS-2 is constantly firing, because it only has 1 machine gun and the big gun that fires 3 rounds a minute. So a counter, you could say, maybe not a hard counter, but almost like a soft counter to enemy tanks is going to be these Shupo deployed in those large numbers. Now if you look at our chronology here, our team stats, we have a lot more kills than losses. Even though we blindly threw infantry into the enemy, we still got a 3-to-1 KD here. That's very, very good. Now it's completely okay to have a lot more losses than kills, especially in a longer game. That would end it a little bit quickly. Because look at the kills. I mean, SS Shupo got 3 of my kills. One of them was Dozor Artillers. Like, 2 of them were 2-person squads. Like, the Shupo did almost nothing. But what they did is they forced the entire line forward and the enemy front line backwards. So you're going to get your kills not from them, but you're going to get your kills while your Tigers are busy shooting at all of the things that are trying to stop your Shupo. The one important thing is that you want to conserve your Tigers here in your B phase. If they're both lost in B, then your C phase attack doesn't have a great chance of succeeding, because you have to try to back up instead with like 88mm and stuff like that, which these 88s, I mean, this guy just trashed that Jeep and that was it. But you know, longer term, if it was a longer game, your heavy anti-aircraft artillery is going to have a bigger effect on enemy vehicles and stuff. You kind of saw how we were moving them up into anti-tank positions throughout the match. At first AA, and then later as the front line was pushing, I'm trying to move them up. I mean, here they only got, you know, just a couple of kills, of course, but the Tigers are really where it's at. You're going to get a lot of long-term values from your 88s and the 85mm guns, which are the disheartened, captured Russian ones. Those you want to watch out for because their range is now down to 1750 instead of 2000 meters, which is why I prefer the 88s a lot more. Before they were roughly equivalent to me. And the other breakdown of our kills is just our vehicles like playing around in the very beginning stages. If you want to just deploy a few vehicles, you can, and try to micro them for like good effect. I can see that our VKT didn't get any kills, although I'm sure he just expended a lot of MG ammo. If we get our losses here, we actually didn't lose any of our Shupo squads, and again, that seems very surprising to people, but if you look, there's so much meat coming at them that enemy fire is dispersed among everything. And so, these kills were all in the A, early part of B. These were the only things that I lost. Like, this is the only thing I lost after C phase. And normally it would be fine to have some Shupo scattered down here, but I hope that shows you the effect. I mean, that very first wave we brought in got cut up, it got forced back, but the infantry themselves were largely intact, just panicked because they had to retreat. So in a way, the disheartened is actually an attribute for this battle group, because it's going to push them back and naturally regulate them. Then later they'll move back up, and you'll have like a surging wave effect where the enemy's line is overrun, like what you saw at the very end there. So that is how I play KORUCK 559, what I believe to be the best way to play it. I hope you guys learned something from that. If you liked it, didn't like it, or if you try to use KORUCK in like a completely different play style, then please let me know down in the comments. And let me know if you liked it and what kind of divisional guide you would like to see next. I think this is my first divisional guide post the range rework for the anti-tank weapons. And I wasn't sure if KORUCK would hold up because I'm thinking about how it has a lot of cheap anti-tank guns, like those 37mm, and a lot of cheap tanks, but it's doing just fine, especially because the other side of the group with the Tigers and the 88s armed with the 88mm gun is able to just punch through a lot of opposition. And we were somewhat fortunate that we had an ally with a KT also that was knocking out tank after tank. I mean, like I said, at the end of the round you look, that KT had like 5 AP rounds left. So it was just pumping shells into targets the whole entire game. So like really, possibly one of the best companions for KORUCK is either of the divisions with King Tigers. Both of them have that heavy long-range dominating firepower that will allow you, with your massive swarm of infantry, to really exploit the enemy. Here, of course, we're giving ourselves some of that our heavy armor support because we don't want to rely on an ally completely, but if you play with someone, especially one of the best companions to this rear area security division, this KORUCK with the cheap inf, is going to be one of those heavy tank divisions that can knock out all that allied armor. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Please drop a like if you enjoyed, and that's all for now. This is Star Destroyer Gaming signing off.